Apple's new flagship watch is here, and it's living up to its name. The Apple Watch Ultra simply offers more of everything. Enhanced functionality, more girth, intensified toughness. Simply more. While this is almost often great, it's not always the case, so today, we'll take a look at the Apple Watch Ultra and discuss our first impressions and 5 coolest features. 5. Design and display. First of all, we'll start with the design. Looking at the Apple Watch Ultra, the first thing that comes to mind is big. It's really huge, and honestly, it may be too big for certain users. But then, there are also people with larger wrist sizes whom it would perfectly fit. For example, if we are looking at a wrist with circumference of, say, 16.5 centimeters, it may feel much smaller and lighter than it actually is. While the Apple Watch Ultra's 49mm shell is noticeably bigger than that of other Apple Watch models, such as the Series 8 and SE, which measure 45mm and 44mm, respectively. The gap in display size isn't that huge a jump, but the display features are very impressive. The curved standard glass has been replaced with a flat sapphire panel that's more resistant to scratches. Furthermore, it has the brightest display of any Apple Watch at 2000 nits compared to the Series 8's and SE's 1000 nits without significantly draining the battery. Stay tuned for a more in-depth discussion on the Apple Watch Ultra's outstanding battery life, which is another one of the device's many features that we'll get to shortly. The Apple Watch Ultra is actually more luminous than a number of smartphones and even certain televisions on the market today. Apple engineered it to work reliably in the harshest conditions imaginable. There's no denying that the display is a fantastic addition, even if the design is debatable. 4. Action button. The action button is a very neat feature that we particularly found appealing on the Apple Watch Ultra. Any athlete who is in motion for long periods of time or who wears gloves while competing would benefit greatly from the addition of the action button. Whenever you touch this button, you can set it to launch whichever program you like. The action button, for instance, can immediately launch a user's workout or advance them to the next interval in a custom workout or the next leg in a multisport workout. The action button can be linked to a variety of functions, including the stopwatch, the compass's waypoint and backtrack features, the Dive app, and an action from the Shortcuts app. Alpine skiers and mountaineers will appreciate the watch's large orange action button located on the left side. Many modern gloves feature touchscreen-compatible finger pads. However, they can be awkward to use. Users would want to interact with a device with large, visually striking buttons that can be pressed easily, which is exactly what the Apple Watch Ultra's action button offers. 3. Battery life. Moving on, with the addition of new features like sleep tracking, Apple Watch's battery life has become even more of a hindrance. The Apple Watch Ultra has a claimed 36-hour runtime. Compared to the Series 8, that's a huge improvement. In addition, the new low-power mode and other planned innovations will further boost the already impressive statistics. The shrunken dimensions of several internal components, like the haptic motor, to fit a bigger battery case, accounts for the vast majority of the battery life gain. The Apple Watch Ultra's battery life is a real game changer. Suddenly, it is more convenient to go deep diving for hours and take advantage of sleep tracking. Well, even though we say sudden, Apple marketed this watch especially for purposes like this, so it shouldn't be too surprising. But this leaves us anticipating what we're gonna get on the next model, and we're sure you are too. Subscribe to our channel and keep up with the updates we'll be bringing on anything from Apple's gadgets to other news. 2. Increased durability. Next up, we'll talk about the Apple Watch Ultra's durability. You can expect the same IPX6 water resistance and titanium body construction from the Apple Watch Ultra that you would find in the most high-end Apple Watch models. When compared to regular Apple Watches, the Apple Watch Ultra has a considerably better chance of surviving a collision with rock. It has the robust MIL STD800 and 10A military durability rating that ensures its functionality under extreme conditions. The Apple Watch Ultra can operate in temperatures between -20 and 55 degrees Celsius.
That's cool.
When you're underwater, you should know your Apple Watch Ultra is resistant. However, Apple's website explicitly says Apple Watch Ultra should not be used for diving below 40 meters. Water resistance is not a permanent condition and can diminish over time. Still, 40 meters resistance is good enough, and coupled with the depth up which we would be talking about upcoming, we would say this feature is wonderful news for all deep divers. 1. Additional features. Now the Apple Watch Ultra has many necessary features which are suited for extreme activities and conditions. Dual-band GPS provides accurate tracking, enabling users to place markers for a track-back function that assists in retracing their steps if they become disoriented. In case you get into difficulties while adventuring and need to signal for help, the Apple Watch Ultra's built-in 86 decibel siren can be very helpful. The siren, which can be programmed to the action button, can sound up to 180 meters away. In addition, we have features like distance tracking and a highly accurate compass, with features like crash detection, which checks contact emergency services after a car crash in case the user is immobilized, or the depth app, which shows the time, current depth, water temperature, time spent underwater, and maximum depth achieved at a glance. You can tell there's much to be pleased with. So if you are pleased with it, give this video that thumbs up to your appreciation. Conclusion. Even if you aren't an extreme sports professional, the Apple Watch Ultra is a worthy upgrade. It possesses a number of useful qualities that anyone would like, except it's just a tad too big to go to sleep with. In the next iteration, Apple really needs to shrink the size of the case. Now, if Apple's smartwatch is a little inconvenient for sleeping, this ring will definitely make you sleep better, the go-to sleep ring. Find more about it in our next